Well, it is
And we're
a
back.
beautiful sunny day. Getting Frank in here somewhere. There he is.
There he
Welcome to the
is.
Empower Half Hour. I'm Bradley W. Skinner coming to you from Southwest Wyoming.
And Frank Reneski from Southern New Jersey.
And one proud University of Wyoming alum, Darren Peppard, coming to you from a shockingly sunny and relatively warm Colorado mountains. It's a beautiful day. It is a great day to be alive, fellas.
Indeed. Agreed. Getting ready for the
Ain't that
Easter
right?
weekend. Just a beautiful, beautiful weather finally coming in here to Wyoming, so I'm happy. And it's great to
I
see
can
both of
almost
you.
see my entire front yard. Yeah, it is great to see
Hey,
both of
that's
you
progress.
guys. I know. It's usually we're still 3-4 feet deep, and it's melting off. I actually washed the cars today, man. It's incredible.
Oh, hope you didn't jinx it.
I'm sure I did. I'm sure I did. Frank,
That's usually not until you
baseball
take the top
season
of the Jeep
starts
off.
tomorrow. Frank.
Yes, sir.
Yay.
Opening day. Philadelphia Phillies and the Atlanta Braves right across the bridge in Philadelphia. I think that's Campbell's team, isn't it? The Atlanta Braves.
I believe that is correct. That is PC's team. Yeah. I mean, you got to love the Braves. They get like 11 or 12 shots at the World Series to win one. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that, right?
Hey, look, I got a great story for you. The 1993 National League Championship Series, Philadelphia Phillies and the Atlanta Braves at Veterans Stadium, and it's going to have to be for another time because it's probably inappropriate for most of our audience. But today on our show, we have, as far as I know, a Boston Red Sox fan.
Nothing wrong with that.
That's good. All the way from Massachusetts. If you ever see Donna McCance on Twitter, she is fired up. And you know how I love those people that get fired up because they get me fired up, not only about life, but about everything that's included in life. So let's welcome our guest this week, Donna McCance from Massachusetts, Boston Red Sox.
Hey.
Right?
Hi, everybody.
Hi, Donna.
Thanks so much for joining us. It's a pleasure to have you here.
Are you a Boston Red Sox fan? Yes or no?
Absolutely.
Okay, that's what.
Let's see. There you go. So
we're not going to hold that against you.
That's all right.
No, and actually, I'm going to appreciate that about you. I am both a Red Sox fan and a Rockies fan, just simply because of where I live, but definitely a Red Sox fan. So, Donna, already we have more in common than we realize. So there we go. Go Sox.
I thought you were going to say Red Sox fan and a Yankees fan, Darren. Thank goodness.
Oh my God, are you kidding me?
That doesn't work. Didn't you see War of the Worlds?
Come on, man.
I
did. Come on, man. You know better than that.
Yeah. Our guest today not only has been an educator and still is an educator, but has the unique distinction of serving on her local board of education. So that's a transition that many of us don't get to make because you're seeing not only every stakeholder view as you are progressing through your career as an educator, but now you get to sit on the board. And I think that gives us, everyone, a unique perspective on what actually does go on behind the scenes, whatever that means. So Donna, why don't you tell us a little bit about your journey from educator to board of education?
Sure. I like the way you use the word stakeholder because that's very important to me. Because even as an educator, I always drew in my families and the community. And so I already have established a lot of relationships within my town. And so the transition was smooth for me, I think, becoming a school committee member or a school board member. We call it school committee in Massachusetts, but it's an elected school governance position. And so I still get to embrace the many parents and families and students, the children, and through my position as a school committee. So the transition has been wonderful for me.
Great.
And I have to ask you, what were you thinking when you decided? When did that decision occur? Was it something you thought about while you were still working in the school, or that you just decided to do after the fact?
I think it was divine intervention.
God bless you. God bless us all.
No, really, it just was. Sometimes I feel like I'm a wind up toy and God winds me up and he puts me down and I just kind of bounce off walls and whatever. And I go in certain directions, and where I land, I do my best. My mother's favorite saying was bloom where you are planted. And I learned that meant wherever you are at that time, do your best, grow, and it's just temporary. You're only moving on, but just embrace it and do it. So I just feel like I've landed here somehow, and I'm going to do my best.
Fantastic.
I think that's awesome.
And yeah, and I
So a
think
lot
you
of
have been
times I
doing
know
this.
this.
If anybody is friends with Donna on social media, you can see that she is on top of everything. And when I see her name splashed out there, it's like, here we go. I'm fired up. What do we have going on? So what do you have going on? I mean, tell me what's your first day like on the Board of Education? I mean, I know what it looks like, or what it has looked like for me on this side of the table. How does it look on the other side of the table?
Well, I'm one of five, so we're a team. We don't act independently. We work together as a team. But they have embraced my talents and the things that I can do, which I truly appreciate. That's part of being a team, is letting other people do things if they want to be creative and try to make things better. So we kind of build off of each other's strengths. So I've had a lot of freedom to do a lot of things, make a lot of improvements, which they appreciate.
Very cool. So I know a lot of times as people are getting into or they're running for a school board or an elected educational position, they either have, whether it be a pet project, an initiative, something that they want to enact in that change fairly quickly. Was that the same for you? Was there something you just like, this is why I want to do it, and this is the first thing that I want to accomplish and get done and make that change?
Mm-hmm.
Or was it just more of a just a give overall approach that interested you?
No, I had a focus in mind. There were two. Well, my main focus is to drive improvements, to make sure that we have high expectations and that we're growing and we're changing. And one of the ways we can do that is through communication. So again, having that stakeholder feel, that mindset. I've done what I can to try and improve communications by creating a new website, so everything is all in one place, and adding newsletters and contacting the newspaper and getting articles out there. And the people in the community appreciate seeing those things and seeing what's happening in our district.
That's great.
So
Good
Donna,
thinking.
I've got to ask, as a school board member, I love hearing, you talk about how the five of you work together as a team. How do you collectively do that work? Because one of the challenges, and of course, I'm a superintendent, I work for a board of 7, and one of the bigger challenges, because you're governed by so many different laws, with everything having to be transparent and everything having to be, in essence, under the open meetings laws. How do you build a team outside of the boardroom?
Well, you mean just with the board members?
Yes.
Or, well, being a new member, there's, like you said, there's so much to learn with school governance. When I was given a manual and looking online about the laws and things, it was daunting, and it still is somewhat daunting to me. And I've been learning it by chunks, and I've been learning by watching them. So that's how you build a team, by respecting each other and learning from each other, and not pretending that you know things that you don't know. So I'm still in the process of learning, and I probably will be forever, but I'm still trying to focus on how to be a good team member. And I have no problem with transparency. That's just the way I am. So, and I feel that that's very important for our district, is that the community feels we are transparent, and that's how you build trust. So it's just something that I'm learning to build and continuing to work on.
Great.
I heard you say a couple of things that just resonate with leadership, and my leadership style should resonate with everyone's leadership style. Imagine if every time you walked into a meeting, or especially a Board of Education meeting, and you started off the meeting with this: today we are here to embrace each other's talents. Today we're here to build on each other's strengths. And now let's take it from here. What a different mindset, what a shift would occur when you create that mindset. So that's spot on as far as building a team and continuing to trust a team. So take it, Donna. Go for it.
Well, one of my biggest key norms is agree to disagree respectfully. And the other one is presume good intentions. Agreeing to disagree respectfully means that just because someone says something different or feels differently than you do doesn't mean that you get mad at them or you get angry and that you shut down. We can't be thinking in terms of black and white. And I know that's hard to do. I even catch myself doing that sometimes. There's a middle ground. And that's the key to being a team. Building consensus is how I think. Trying to get everybody on board. It's not an easy thing to do, but the majority rules mindset is difficult for me, because sometimes the majority isn't right or isn't doing the right thing. So we have to make sure that everyone's voice is heard and everyone has a chance to go around the table and say how they feel and discuss it that way without getting mad at each other.
Very good point. Not always is easy to do, but very important. So the work that you're doing, I mean, this sounds like you are putting in a lot of time. How much time do you dedicate specifically to this position that you're currently working in?
Well, because I am retired right now, I would say probably around 20 hours a week. But it's because I feel so passionately about my district and about our students getting the best education that they can. And I might be an overachiever and a workaholic and all those things, but I just can't stop. I'm on a motor and I'm wound up and I want to just keep going and improving and, just letting people know my passion and how much I want things to be better for everybody, but especially our students. I mean, this is high stakes we're talking here. It doesn't get any higher than this. A child's mind and preparing someone for their future, it doesn't get higher than that.
So Donna, we were talking in the in the pre-show a little bit about some of the different work you do as a board member and some of the different committees that your school district has you involved in. I know one of those committees has you involved working with your curriculum and instruction director, a very close friend of all of ours, a fellow codebreaker, Matthew Joseph. Not that we want to pick on Matthew, but tell us what it's like what is some of the work that you do within that committee? How does that tie in? And I mean, it doesn't necessarily have to connect to Matthew. I'm just curious what that work looks like for you.
Well, I first met Matt when he came on board a year ago. And I had asked him to help me integrate technology into my classroom because it was the first time we ever had all the students had Chromebooks. And when I knew he was coming on board, he stopped in my room one day and I said, "You belong to me. Please help me." And he did. He taught my students how to use Flipgrid, Padlet, Google Meet, all kinds of things. When we flipped over to remote because of the pandemic, my kids were right on board. They knew how to log on. They knew how to do their lessons. It was amazing. So I
great.
got to work with him prior to being on the school committee. And then I was comfortable, and I still am comfortable working with him because he has so much knowledge. So we
Oh, yeah, it's true.
Yeah.
district data team, and he's the facilitator of the district data team. We've never had a district data team before, and so I work with him on that.
That sure is a great resource to have available.
Yeah, for sure.
So I do
Yeah.
appreciate him.
And
He's full of drive and passion too. He's
Yeah.
no doubt.
Yep.
Does you know what you said was one thing that maybe people forget sometimes. Sometimes doing, now I'm paraphrasing, so pardon me, I'm not trying to misinterpret anything, but sometimes when you do what's best for the kids, for the students, it doesn't seem like you're doing what's best for the adults, but really you are, because you're nurturing that circle where, hey, we're providing professional development, we're providing knowledge, and now, let's make sure we get it where it's supposed to go, and that's to the classroom. So if somebody's walking by your room like Matt or whomever, and hey, I need you to assist me here. Let's do this. And when they're willing to do that, then that just creates what I want to say relationship building before anybody else does.
Yeah.
49.
Yeah, we have a running joke here, Donna, that every week on our show, there are certain catchphrases we say, like Bruce Springsteen is one, another one is building relationships.
You say that.
That's right. I had to get it in, 49.
I don't think I've used a Bruce Springsteen quote yet, but I'll work on that.
Yeah.
I said we.
I'm fairly
Remember,
confident I
we're
haven't
embracing
either.
each other's talents. Remember
We're a
that.
team. We're a team.
That's right.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely.
How about Born in the USA?
Yes, there you go. There's another reference.
Yeah. And there we go. Yeah. And I'm sure it's 49 straight shows with a Bruce Springsteen reference too. So, but that's okay.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah. But I think we lost sight of the question. Frank, could you ask the question again? I don't even remember what it was.
I don't think I asked the question. I think I was just making a
Oh,
statement.
okay.
Sometimes when you're doing what's best for the kids, for the students, it doesn't seem like to some adults you're doing what's best for the adults, but that comes full circle because you're providing the professional development,
Yeah.
you're providing the relationships, you're providing what everyone needs to do what's best for the students. And Don, a question for you. Now, here's a question. As a board member, as a board of education, where do you see the biggest need as we move towards the future? Because I'm resigned to the fact there is no new normalcy.
That's true.
I think there's this huge thing. It might be an elephant in the room sometimes, but
No,
it's called
Yoda.
a Yoda in the room. It's called the comfort zone.
Yes.
We all love our comfort zone, don't we? And right now, I am not in my comfort zone, but I'm also brave. So I'm here. You asked me to be here, and I'm happy to do that. Doing Twitter, learning Twitter was not in my comfort zone. Social networking, Matt helped guide me in that direction. And as I step out of my comfort zone, and it is scary, but I'm brave. Brave doesn't mean you're not afraid. It means you do it in spite of being afraid. I'm learning more and more and more. And every time I do step out of that comfort zone, I go higher and higher in my level of knowledge. So what I want people to try to do is to step out of that comfort zone. And how do you get them to do that? I'd love to hear your take on that.
I think for all three of us, we've probably all got great answers on this. I'm going to tell you first and foremost, just stepping out of our comfort zone, just launching this show 49 episodes ago. I remember Frank reaching out to the two of us, to Bradley and to me, and saying, "Hey, let's put something together. Let's just do something." And we didn't know what it was going to be. And certainly, The show has evolved and grown and changed as now we get to episode 49. But I don't know that all three of us, yes, we'll stand up in front of an audience and speak, and we'll stand up in front of a scaffolding and speak and those kinds of things. But to put together a show like this, and just to keep it rolling, I'll tell you I think that pushed me a little bit outside of my comfort zone. And, I've got a dozen others, but that's the one that I'll put out there.
I'll say that I think modeling is a big part of it as well. In either if I'm modeling it for others, or if I see that with others, that I see that they're willing to step out of their comfort zone, knowing that it might be difficult, knowing it might be challenging, but seeing that it doesn't cause physical harm, it's not causing emotional distress, and that they're able to achieve more because they were willing to sacrifice that discomfort. That lets me say, you know what, okay, I can do that. I see what it can accomplish, and that I can challenge myself to be better and to do better. And so I think for me, that's what I would say, is just being either that I'm willing to do that and model it for others, or that I've got great people around me that are willing to do that to help me.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, so that's 49 straight shows where we've talked about leadership. Just saying.
Well, that's where it starts, and sometimes it's a little tiny step, and sometimes it's a big leap, and it's like the first time you do anything. First time you take a foul shot, you take 10,000 foul shots, and you're going to feel more comfortable. It's the first time you do a magic trick. It's the first time you write a book. It's the first time you create a dance, or you choreograph something. It's the first time you ride in a Jeep down a deserted road. I mean, that's where we start to see it, our potential. I'm talking about, and I'm still looking, and I'm still on the edge, and I think all of us here are anyway. And that's a suggestion for everybody out there. Keep looking, keep searching, keep getting uncomfortable so that you can get comfortable.
That this all made me think about, as I work with my students, how the first thing I need to do is help them feel safe before so they can trust me, so that they will be able to take risks and take chances. And I suppose that wouldn't be any different with adults. To help them feel safe, so that they won't feel judged or uncomfortable or afraid they're going to be criticized. So I have often said that the teacher is only as good as an administrator will allow them to be, because they're in a position where they come in your room and they can tell you, I don't like this and I don't like that. I've been through it. And where I say in my heart, I know that what I'm doing is the right thing for my students. So I think administration needs to work at making sure that the teachers feel safe, and that they feel they can take risks, and they're not going to be criticized. And perhaps maybe that would help them step out of their comfort zone and bonding together, so they will try to try new things.
Yeah, I've said it a bunch. It's in my book, but it's something I believe really strongly, because I've seen both sides of this world. And when we, when we as school leaders, as administrators, when school boards work in a way that allows for that growth, that allows for people to take risk and to feel safe, that is where innovation happens. But the reality is, a lot of times, what you're saying is we'll have those situations where it's the opposite, and it's about being compliant. And I have felt so strongly for so long that compliance is the enemy of innovation. And if we allow compliance to be what we're about, we never achieve what you as a school board member have set for goals for the kids in your district. What I have set as a superintendent for the kids in my district, what Bradley does for the kids in his classroom, what Frank does for the students at his university. We have to be willing to give them the opportunity to take risk, and risk that does not fear reprisal.
Right.
Absolutely.
This sounds like a call for some professional development, maybe. for leaders.
Yeah, and
Agreed.
well, and that's looking in the mirror differently too. I think one misconception is this positional leadership type of thing, where people don't build that trust. They don't have that trust to look in the mirror and say, you know what, I'm a leader just as much as this other person. However, this other person has a title that I don't have. There creates a disparity, but there shouldn't. And that's and at the beginning of the
Exactly.
show, Donna, we talked about trust, and let's get back to that full circle again, because that's where trust leads to trustworthiness. And without that component, an administrator or anybody walks into your room, then you step back a little bit when you're just starting to hit your stride. And that is one of the worst things that we could do, is stifle creativity because we don't understand something, because we don't have that trust.
And integrity is so important. As a leader, you need to be honest. You can't try to hide things or make things up or do a little white lie or anything like that. It's best to say, my father taught me that when I was 2 years old. If you don't know the answer to the question, don't make one up. Find the answer and then, go for it. But otherwise, you need to build integrity or you will not have trust.
Absolutely.
Yeah. In the long
Great
run,
point.
Question.
honesty always wins.
Yep.
You may not like to hear the truth, but in the long term and in the end, it always wins.
It does. So does peace and love, right, Frank?
You just got beat to your punchline, man. I love it. Good job, Donna. Yeah.
I got my
Well,
book
that brings
right
us.
here.
Right on.
Well, that's bringing us time to get onto our final thoughts. And
I'll go first.
Bradley just left.
I want to say, Donna, thank you for stepping outside of your comfort zone, because you just hit a home run tonight. Number one. Number two, Darren and Bradley both have books coming out, so just give us a quick shout out when it is your turn about your books coming out. Peace and love always win.
Right on. Thank you, Frank. Man, final thoughts. Donna, you just really brought it tonight. You hit so many spots right in my heart with what you talked about, and I think I'm going to kind of put it together this way. Once you are an educator, you are always an educator, and regardless the role that you might hold, regardless the charge that you are given, as long as you hold in your heart that you are an educator, you will always be making a difference in the lives of kids. And for that, Donna, I say thank you for the work that you are doing on behalf of the kids in your district and the families in your district. Frank asked for a little shout out. Yes. So and I'll be honest with you, I feel like, I did so little in this, but my really good friend Jillian Du Bois and I have collaborated, and we have a book titled Road to Awesome: A Journey for Kids. It's the story of our character Blake. It is Blake's first journey, and it is really based on my book Road to Awesome, converted and put in a place where kids can take ownership and have that conversation with adults about ownership of our own journeys and what it takes to make those journeys. So Frank, thank you for that comment. Also, thank you for your praise on the book. It was truly heartfelt and truly amazing. So have a Road to Awesome week.
Thank you, everyone.
Your final thought, give it to us. Bring it.
Well, my final thought, I just want to thank you all for pulling me out of my comfort zone. It's the first time I've done this, and I really enjoyed it. And I'm really shy about speaking in front of people like this. So hopefully I'll do it again.
There you will. Thank you, Donna.
Thanks.
Thank you, Donna.
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. This has been a great episode. A lot of stuff that I know I needed to hear today. So thank you, Donna, for being a part of that and bringing that to this episode. And as Frank mentioned, yes, I have a book coming out as well. I'm excited to announce that I have a children's book, and it is entitled My Friend from Haiti. And my good friend, Jean-Rousseau Joseph from Haiti, he and I have written a book together that is about how friendships can actually become stronger because of differences. And so it's a story of two young elementary school kids, one from Haiti and one from here in America, that end up in the same neighborhood, and how they build a good, long-lasting friendship off of the differences and diversity as they learn about each other and their cultures and their customs. And it's going to be a multilingual book. It's actually written in English, French, and Haitian Creole.
Ooh.
Nice.
So it's going to be a lot of
Awesome.
fun. And some of the things that I just really wanted to really hit in my final thoughts about risk. That's a big thing that came up today. Lisa even mentions it here about that importance of establishing that risk and risk taking, when beneficial, is a great thing to have within any institution because of what it does. And I'm living proof of that. And literally, Darren, his leadership style and being able to foster that in an environment in school and show and model that positivity of taking risks and making a difference and trying new things for the benefit of your students without that fear that may often accompany that in an educational setting. And it's wonderful. And please continue to do that and work so diligently in whatever environment that might be that you may be in. Be a part of that. Foster that risk taking is beneficial, and as Frank always says, that bring that peace and love to that environment, and it'll make a difference.
Mm-hmm.
So that's it for the Empower Half Hour today. Thank you guys so much for being a part of it. Thank you all of the great comments that came in today, especially those were wonderful. Thank you for helping guide that and for always being here with us on the Empower Half Hour.
And do not forget, mark your calendars, because next week, that's right, episode 50, the big 50, the Empower Half Hour, will be turning 50,
Wow.
50 episodes. And we have, should we go ahead and tease who our guest is next week? Do you want to go ahead and drop it?
Yes, I think he's on the show. He's actually
he actually,
right now.
yeah, he is viewing right now. We have the 2021 Illinois Secondary Principal of the Year, Dr. Jeff Prickett, joining us. Jeff, rock star, budding author, all kinds of amazing stuff. So super excited for episode 50. It's going to be hard to top episode 49. Honestly, Donna, this was an amazing episode. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. See you next week for your fastest half hour of the week.
Bye-bye.